Dahlia season's coming to a close, and so I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to make two arrangements that are made with dahlias. People love dahlias, and they come into season about the end of summer, and they're around for several weeks, and then when it gets cold and frost, we're done with them. But they're great to arrange. And someone asked a question the other day about, I've never seen anyone arrange dahlias. How do you arrange dahlias? Well, the simple answer to that is we arrange them just like we do with any other flower. But I wanted to show you two different size vases. I got a lot of attention by doing something in this rectangle vase, and it fits in a stand I have, but it looks great. It's a rectangle vase. It's about 3 or 4 inches across the top and about 10 inches long or so. We've got it filled with water. I have a smaller vase that's also a rectangle shape. It's taller. And what we're going to do is we're going to make arrangements in this today with no other foliage. We're just going to use the dahlias. And I've heard lots of different things. People tell me all sorts of stuff, like they dip the end of the dahlia in boiling water, or they sear it with a flame. I don't know why they would do that. I have no idea. Some people claim that they think it makes the dahlias last longer. I get, anywhere from 7 to 12 days out of my dahlias because of what I put in the water and because of what I put with the dahlias as well. And I think that that's really important, is what goes into the water with them is going to be really important, because dahlias like super clean water. And when we start to get bacteria and the water starts to get murky, that's a huge problem for dahlias, and it's not going to allow them to last as long. The other thing we want to make sure we're doing is getting fresh dahlias too. I get mine from a local grower here, and I really think that that's the best way. There are a couple varieties of dahlias that ship fairly well, but most of them don't ship well. And so getting them locally from a local flower farmer is a really great way to do it. And that means that we're limited in season as to when they're going to be available, because we're not going to have them all year round like we do carnations or roses or something like that. So just think about that too, is we enjoy dahlias when they're in season, the same way that we enjoy poinsettias when they're in season, or Easter lilies when they're in season. It's dahlia season, so let's enjoy them. We're going to make two different sizes today, and I'm also going to talk about color, because everybody's interested in how we choose color, and dahlias have such a wide variety of color. I think that that's really important too. So which ones we're going to put in the vases are important. I also work with my local dahlia grower, and I ask him to grow certain varieties. I was just looking at the catalog today, and I was circling the varieties I might like for next year. And I really love laciniated dahlias, which are the ones with little frayed edges. I like ones that are bicolors. I like ones that are bright colors. And I'm not really crazy about white or cafe au lait dahlias. White flowers are pretty tough for me. I just don't really like white flowers. And so, I like colorful flowers. But we've got some today that are white with little tiny lavender edges, and we're going to use those in one of the bouquets. But I'm going to show you some things about color too. So that'll be our project for today. We're going to make these two arrangements, and we might make them side by side as we work with them. So I think that that's important. But first things first, we have to get our water ready. So again, we have used ice cold water in both of these vases, filled it up fresh from the tap. It's interesting, right here in Grand Rapids right now, there's a chlorine smell to our water. So they're putting more chlorine in it right now. That's great for my dahlias, because it's going to help keep bacteria levels down in the water itself. So, and we also encourage that with our CVBN tablets. So we use these CVBN tablets. Now, I have a liter of water in this vase, so it gets 1 tablet per liter. This one has 2 liters in it. And so I'm going to use 2 tablets in there. Somebody asked me about these, and they said, what are these? What are those little pills that you have? And the CVBN tablets are available from our friends at Kreisel. I have a portal on my website to Kreisel, so you can order them right from them. It's ubloom.com/buy Kreisel. And you can look for the CVBN tablets. You can get 50 in a container, or you can get a container like this, which is 1,000, which is great, okay? They're basically like the same chlorine you would use in your swimming pool, okay? So if you have a swimming pool and you use chlorine in it, that's kind of what this is. It's a time-released chlorine that helps reduce the bacteria in the water. Now, one of the other things that's important too is a flower food. I like Kreisel Professional 3. So we're going to use 2 pumps of that. Inside here with this, we use 1 pump over here. All right. So again, we've got, twice as much water in this container than we do in this container. I have found, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, my dahlias do best when dahlias are the only thing in the water. When I use foliages, or when I use other flowers, or when I put in, things from the garden and mix them with them, they don't last as long. So they last longer when it's just dahlias in the vase. So that's something that you may want to think about. I love it too when I have just one dahlia. Floating one dahlia in a bowl is wonderful. And you got to keep an eye on them, because when they're in contact with the water, they're going to deteriorate faster. But I've had some pretty cool experiments, science experiments, that have happened with floating a dahlia in water. I had one time that was so big, and it just kind of grew into the bowl. It was pretty amazing, but that's something fun that you can try and work with. All right. So we're going to use, again, our dram cutters today. We're using the bypass cutter, and we're using the compact pruner. We'll use both of those today. As working with this, I'm working on a turntable. So this guy's going to turn around so I can show you what it looks like from all sides. This one I'm not going to turn around because we'll make it one-sided. Okay, I'm going to stand up because I don't sit down when we arrange, and so I'm going to cut my head off, but then we'll be able to see the flowers and we'll be able to work with them. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with different flowers. Now, I wanted to show you what's really interesting about this. Let's look at these dahlias, all right? So we've got white dahlias in there, and these white dahlias have a pretty little purple edge on them. It's kind of hard to see with the camera, but they do have a pretty purple edge. I'll show you in a minute. But look at this bucket. Look at how this bucket, you see a lot of the white in that bucket, right? Now let's look at this bucket. See how that bucket looks more colorful? It's because white dilutes the other colors for us. So when we have a beautiful dahlia, let's grab one. So see, when we put these two dahlias together, look at how vibrant that color is. When I bring a white dahlia in with them, see how that starts to make the colors not as impactful. So white dilutes our color scheme by 65%. That's a lot, right? So color diluted. Color diluted. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our white flowers over here, and we're going to put our colored flowers over here. All right, so that's how we'll make our arrangements today. So we're going to start with these two big blooms. I think that's a perfect way for us to start. And you're going to notice I've got leaves on here. And what I want to be sure of is that those leaves don't go below the water line. So I'm going to want this guy to set up on the corner here. So I'm going to cut him, and I'm going to drop him down into the vase. Now look at how that's balancing on there. And you can see where the leaves are staying outside the vase up here, and he's balanced on the edge. Now look at all these I've got over here. I'm going to use my compact pruner to take off these other other leaves. I always say that. See, I say flowers. Not flowers. Leaves below the waterline, like that. And this guy, I'm going to want him to set up here, but I don't want those leaves to go in the water, so I'm gonna take those leaves off, because I'm just worried about him and I'm going to want him to sit down inside here. Now, look at the backside. I've got a couple of petals on there that aren't very pretty. I'm just going to pull those off. And again, because this isn't like a chrysanthemum, it's not going to fall apart. It's okay for me to pull those off, and that'll be fine. So this guy's going to sit on the edge too. I'm going to stick that down in there and have him sit on the very corner. So see, look at that X down in the middle of that. That is support. That's going to be support for other flowers that go in there. We're going to start with our bigger flowers first. So now I'm going to use this one too. Look at this guy. Isn't that pretty? It's variegated, but because it's variegated, it has 50-50. It's got a balance of colors in it. And we're going to put that in the middle. Now, look at these little tiny pieces. I want to make sure I get those off of there because I don't want those under my water. Now, look at that. Okay, well, look, we got that one leaf right there that's in front of everybody. And that's why we have this compact corner. So we can go in and get rid of that leaf. And now we're showing his whole face. Looks really good. All right. Now let's use, we've got another big red here. Wow, and look at this stem. I think this is pretty incredible. Oh, there's two stems. That's why. Okay. So look at now, I've got a big flower and I've got a bud coming up on the side. I'm going to remove my leaves and I'm going to want that to stand up here in the back side of this. I'm going to kick this camera back just a little bit more. There we go. So we can see where he's going to go. He's going to go right there. So my friend Shalini said to me the other day, you talk about the flowers. You say he and she about those flowers, and that means you're more attached to them. I think it's true. I mean, I think I'm wondering what they're going to do, and I wonder how they're going to feel and what's going to happen with them. Now, again, look at the back side of this guy. Not very pretty. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel out those petals that aren't very pretty. I'm just going to pull them out. My friend at the Hamilton Dahlia farm was the lady who taught me this. She was like, if you want a smaller dahlia, just pull the petals off and then you'll have a smaller dahlia. And see, sometimes when I go to strip them down, I just worry that they're not as pretty anymore. And sometimes I cut them off and sometimes I leave them on. But look at that's smaller. He's a smaller dahlia now, and there's a bigger dahlia over there. We're going to remove those leaves. They're going to fall below the water line. And again with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it out this end. Okay. So they're layering over the top on this end. Fun. All right. Now let's see what this one's doing. I've got this little guy. Look at he looks like a sun. Looks like sunshine. Hold on, got to get him in there. There he goes. Look at that. Some people talk about the dahlias opening up, and what they say is that bees get in there, and the bees open up the flowers a little bit more. Now this bud is going to fall below the water line, so he's going to need to go. This one might be okay. I'm going to peel back those leaves. But sometimes the bees do open up the dahlias like that, and I like when they're center shows. Some people don't, but I do like it. So look at that. Now again, we're layering them and we're starting from those big ones and we're building up our arrangement. So we've got them going in at angles. Look at our stems supporting down inside there. You can see the stems supporting down inside there. Our other flowers going in. Now, oh, here's a yellow one. Now this is kind of almost like a bud. And again, I'm going to put this bud in my bouquet, and my bud is going to open up because I used my chrysal flower food. My chrysal flower food is going to help that bud open up because it has sugar in the water that's going to go up the stem, and it's going to open those and help enhance those flowers. If we did not use flower food inside there, it would be bad. So now look, my friend cut these dahlias for me, and look, he gave me this one. It just has two buds on it, right? But isn't that fun to have those buds? Because I think it's interesting to have that variation of bud and open bloom. It makes it look more fun. Makes it look like we went out in the garden and picked everything. Now here, this guy, I'm just going to pull these off that back side, the ones that are starting to fade a little bit. You know, Constance Spry in her book talked about how her favorite day with flowers was the day that they started to drop petals on the table. And I always think about that because I think that that's true. What she said is that it made us realize how fleeting their life might be, and that the memories that they create are wonderful. Now, I'm going to set this on the middle of a table. So I want you to see that on the back side, there's those dahlias are open back there. And look, we've got some space over here where we need a few more facing you. So we'll do that next. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of those variegated ones again, so that we have a variegated one facing you. We're removing those leaves, and then we're going to slip that guy right down inside there. Look at that. Pretty. Now, I'm going to use a purple one next to that. And I don't know if you can see, this purple one has little spots on him. I love that. It's got little spots all over him. That's part of dahlias being an octoploid, which means that the dahlias have 8 chromosomes rather than 2, which is why we can have so many unique different colors of dahlias. Here's a bright colored purple one. And again, I think these dahlias look great when they're all in here together because the colors contrast so nicely with one another. There we go. Now these, look at this. I don't know if you can see, if I can help that a little bit with my hand. Look at the light's a little bit bright, but look at how it has those variegations in it. That's so pretty. And I'm going to bring that right in here. Okay. Dahlias can be so fun and just so many great colors. Now, again, you're not going to, dahlias are not the longest lasting flower. I wish that they lasted longer, but that's also part of their charm, is that, they don't last as long. So we need to enjoy them. We need to get them all in there. Wow, look at that. That's pretty fun. Right there. I've got another big variegated one, and I'm going to slip that in right here. Now look at how those colors all start to blend together. I love that. I'm going to slip this guy right in there. Yeah, there I go, Shalini. This guy. Yeah, him. And oh, look at this. Look at how in the center of that, there's just 1, 2, 3, 4 petals that have a little bit of white on them. That's so beautiful. So we're going to slip that right in here. You know what? I'm slipping them in between those structures down there. So now you can see down at the bottom. See how those stems are all going together? But notice how there are no leaves down there at the bottom. No leaves going through there. And let's give it a little spin, so you can see what it looks like on all sides, right? It's pretty all the way around. So we could put this on a dining room table while people were sitting, and that could be really fun. And everybody can enjoy a different view of the dahlias. That would be super nice. Now I have a tendency to use them all, so we are going to do that. I think I need one of these at this end. So we're going to add it on this side right in there. So it made it longer on this end, right? Now you will notice that using those variegated dahlias in there is making it, it's diluting the color palette a little bit. And I think that that's super important. so that you remember that that's happening, right? Because we talked about it earlier. Eleanor's looking around over here. She's on the floor underneath here watching me design today, so that's pretty fun. She doesn't like to be on camera, so you may not see her. Ladybird is different. Ladybird will let me pick her up. Okay, so we've got the yellow in there now. And I'm sorry, those yellow look a little bit white with the lighting that we have. And here's a little Santa Claus one. I love this Santa Claus color. Look, there it is. Better. There. Got a leaf that's in front of it right there. We're going to slip that down in the middle. And look at those little buds that are sticking up there. That's really pretty. And I've just got a couple more here. We're going to do 2 more. I'm using all my colorful ones in the bigger vase, and then we'll make the little smaller vase with our white ones with the little lavender edge. I think I have one more. Yep, one more. And this guy, he's got some petals on the back that we need to remove. So don't ever discount your dahlia. Don't count them out because they've got a few petals on the back that don't look good. They're still going to be beautiful inside this vase. I'm sure that we will use this bouquet for flower cocktail hour. So you'll notice pictures of it on Instagram, and those might get up before we share this video. But now look at that. That's very pretty. All the way around, all those different types. And again, it was putting the bigger ones in, and then I put the smaller ones over the top, and I layered them with one another. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this back here. See how pretty that looks back there too? You can see the colors a little bit more too. The further away we get from the lights. That's interesting. Okay. So now, say I've got a few dahlias. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up my mess here. Throw it away. And then we'll get our dahlias out that we're going to use. So now let's see if I can show you. Can you see the little bit of purple edge on that? If I bring it close to you, it's going to get worse. So it has a little teeny tiny bit of purple on it. And you know what I'm going to do? Give me half a sec. I am going to turn off a couple of these lights since we're using white flowers. And since we're using white flowers, then you might be, oh, see, look, now you can see the detail on there. See how there's just a little bit of purple on the edge? Isn't that nice? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll have 8. 7 dahlias we're going to use in this little vase. So again, we're going to remove what's going to fall below the water line. We're going to want that to set about there. Ta-da! Okay. Then with this one, we're going to pull these off because this one's going to sit a little bit lower in the vase. I'm going to want it to sit about there. Oh, now see, sometimes they want to fall right into place, and that's okay with me. Don't be like, oh, it's got to be over here because that's where he put it. No. I want it to be, I want it to please you. I want it to be good. There we go. And see, these are close to the water line. Gonna have to go away. There we go. Now what'll happen sometimes is as I'm arranging, I will rearrange stuff. So like this is going to be good there. And that got me stand up in the middle. Now, what's happening is that's all happening down here a little bit further down. Okay, see how that's what's making everybody stand up in there. Now look at this guy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to try and leave all those leaves on there. Okay, I can. I'm going to go just a little bit more. All those leaves on there. Just a little bit more. All those leaves are still on there. Because you know what that's doing? It's making structure. If you said, Jay, it's making structure, you were right. It's structure for those flowers. Now look, I've got this crazy little bud on there. Oh, way up there at the top. We're going to take that off. And I feel like this needs to go right here. Right. And see, look, I told you, I arrange things differently. I want this guy to be a little bit shorter. Ta-da! Now again, having them be just arranged loosely in a vase is really fun. And a little bit serendipity. But I like that he's got a little bit of fairy grass all in here with him. Fairy grass that kind of grew into the bloom. There we go. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of foliage in here if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to. What I thought this was pretty today because I picked this. It's actually oregano. And I used it in a recipe I was making. I'm gonna teach you in season 4 how to make souvlaki, which is a fun Greek food that's made with pork. And again, I remember at the very beginning of this, I told you that they do better by themselves. But sometimes I'll add just a little bit of something for a little bit of aesthetic. I know it's not going to make them last as long, but I want to add it in here to make it a little bit prettier. And I decided that this one was a little bit too white to be in my other bouquet. And so I think he needs to go right there. Yes, Shalini, that was for you. He needs to go right there. So he is going to go right there. I love the fact that we have YouTube and we have the ability to communicate, and you leave comments for what I do, and then I can answer you and get personally involved. Shalini is my friend who lives in Mumbai, and she's in India. And we have never met in person, but we have become wonderful friends through the comments and things that we have said to each other online. And I think that that's wonderful. That's a really cool thing about what we can do and how we can communicate. And this just proves that it's another opportunity for us to, I'm turning the faces around on these, to get to know each other a little bit better all around the world. Because the one thing that we all have in common is that we love flowers. And isn't that the best? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now, see, I really like it when we use all one type of flower color together, too. When we made the red one the other day, it was pretty that everything was red. And this is a little more one-sided. And our other arrangement is a little bit all the way around. Look at how cute those look. And one is pretty, one's big, like that. So let's see. Let me see if I can get back down here with you so we can wrap this up. All right. How does that look? Is that pretty good? You can see me in between here. All right. So we've got our beautiful colored dahlias over there. We've got our all one color of dahlia over here. We can do it in small, 8 blooms here, over here. I bet we've got 24 blooms in there. Dahlia season. Dahlias do best when they're in a vase by themselves with no other types of flowers or foliage. We've used our Kreisel Professional 4, or excuse me, Kreisel Professional 3 inside here, along with our CVBN tablets. Kreisel Professional 3, CVBN tablets. You can get those again at ubloom.com/buy, B-U-Y, Kreisel, C-H-R-Y-S-A-L. I can put that in the comments for you as well. That's great. We used ice cold water. We're going to top off our water with a water supply like this when they start to dwindle down. Tomorrow, it's going to be about this much lower, okay? The next couple days, then after that, it won't use as much water. So they use a lot more water the first day that you cut them and put them in there. You can monitor them. If they start to have bad petals, pull those off, just like we did when we were putting them in there. And I think it's great. Cool place, keep them out of direct sun. Dahlias look great. It's a fun way for us to arrange dahlias. It's a fun way for us to get together. Dahlia season's almost over. Makes me sad. But they'll be back next year. And then we can refer to this video then too, and you'll have more tips about how we can do that together. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love the dahlias. Watch for these. We'll post them for Flower Cocktail Hour. So follow us on Instagram, ubloom on Instagram, UBLOOM on Instagram, and on Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom on our Facebook page too. And we post the videos in both places too. So that's good too. And soon we will have live videos. So just bear with me. I'm getting there. So, all right. Have a great day. Keep having fun with flowers.